We've got some great plans that are coming ahead. This not so much a devotional as we usually do. It's something that, Christian, are you going to be telling about the rest of it, or you BC? Do what? BC? Oh, there's BC. I thought he'd run away from us, maybe. Okay, I want you to look at something that was a long time ago in the community kids. See if this will be up here in just a moment. There's something that was stated in 1933, and you may recognize the statement that's here. The next one, the community kids, the statement, please. Here's one of them. Go ahead and look at this, if you would. We think that some things government would not be involved. But you remember that some time ago, we had some people in positions of influence and power that were looking at the idea of, well, the comment was that it takes a village to raise a child. And there was an effort right then, and you can see part of it that was recorded here, that was recorded on MSNBC. Well, okay, we'll take this one then. But in 1933, you read this. When an opponent declares, I will not come over to your side, this is Hitler. I calmly say, your child belongs to us already. What are you? You will pass on. Your descendants, however, now stand in the new camp. In a short time, they will know nothing else but this new community. And we look at history a little bit, we see that the perfect society with the pure race was something that was happening with Adolf Hitler and a movement then in Germany. And the whole idea is everybody belongs to the state. And if you go back and look at some of the things on YouTube and find a little bit of history, there were children that were being taken away and being indoctrinated so that they would be part of the pure people, the pure race. And we think that happened back a long time ago. But now look at the next one. This one. And this is what I was mentioning a while ago. When it was said that our government, some people high in influence and power in our government were saying that it takes a village. And look at this statement. This lady on MSNBC back at that time, we have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of the children. Now get this. Do you believe that any of us would think this? Your kids, it says, is ours. Your kid is ours and totally your responsibility. The parents felt that parents would have responsibility. And this person says we haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to a whole community. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the household, then we start making better investments. Do you see what was going on? Do you see the thing that would be taken when the communities feel that, or government would feel that they have to have control? And then next one on community kids, and there's two thoughts. Here we go. The secular thought would be the tolerance, just anything. You know, one time, some of the classes I took in counseling, the idea was that there's no truth, that the truth is whatever you believe it is at this time. No truth. And there'd be tolerance. one of the educators, psychiatrists, or psychologists that we'd studied was a fellow that believed that you just let people talk and they gain insight. And whatever they said was okay. And his theory was that, how does that make you feel? And leave them alone. Look at some of the things that are going today. Marriages, male to male, female to female, abortion. Oh, that's not murder. It's not murder. And there's a political candidate that even says that God has no position on abortion. Another one is divorce. It doesn't matter. And I've heard, and I'll bet you've heard somebody say sometime, well, we're getting married, and if it doesn't work, we'll just divorce and go their own way. The other one, that we can just live together. It's just all right. There's no morality. And then with the religious thought, some were saying evolution is true. Evolution is true. And some say there is no God. And I've heard people want to hedge this a little bit and say, well, if there is a God, and they go on with their own thoughts. Another one, we see this all the time. We see it on television. We see it where people are told, just say this prayer, and then go to the church of your choice. And there are some today that believe there's no particular worship. I was told by a young lady one time that she was part of their dance ministry. Where do you find that in the Bible? But look what the scriptures say. In Deuteronomy 6, verses 6 through 9. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk to them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorpost of your house and your gates. Now, does that sound like the parents had a responsibility way a long time ago? And then Ephesians 6 and verse 4, and you fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the learning, training, and admonition of the Lord. And here's one I sort of identify with. In 2 Timothy 1 and verse 5, Paul wrote, and when I call to remembrance the genuine faith that is in you, which dwelt first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded in you also. I believe so much. If not for my mama and my granny, I'd probably never been a Christian. Possibly. But that goes way back with parents, grandparents. Any of us that have any influence, Andy, with our young people is helping them, as we did with Aaron and George, to be able to know, to learn the Scriptures. And then add to this, Proverbs 22 and verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. How do we really train up our children? Those of us who are parents, have been parents, who are grandparents, how do we really train them? I've heard of someone that said, well, we've got to make our kids read the Bible every night. What? Where's the example? Where's the influence that's there? Our children, little kids, are sharper than we think. Yesterday, Violet and I were out at the property. We were talking to a fellow about some animals, some livestock. We got in the four-wheeler, two-seater type four-wheeler, Little 5-year-old boy crawled up behind the wheel, and I was sort of joking with him. I said, "Well, are you going to drive?" And his granddaddy came over and said, "Yes." That little 5-year-old drove better than a lot of people that I've seen in their teens. He drove us all over that place, didn't he? It was fantastic. And I sent a note to his granddad and told him, "Thanks for visiting. We enjoyed that. And I was impressed with your little cowboy." His granddaddy sent me a text with pictures of that little boy when he was 3 years old, working in the fields and he's working. I think we don't expect enough of some of our grandkids. We as parents, grandparents, we have influence in the church with young people. You need to work it. But there are a lot of people in this community that do not have parents even who profess to be Christians and faithful followers of Christ. And now then, we've got a wonderful opportunity. BC, where are you? BC, tell them about what's in store, and we need your help. We need volunteers. It's not like the Marines. Well, it might be. Some of you may be voluntold, but we'll take your help. BC.
Good afternoon. So a lot of